Musk is doing.
So hang on, if it's all illegal because this is being done, it's not even an official department in our government. Sowing chaos, absolutely that's underway right now. But then what? For reversing it, more chaos? I mean, does this just get caught up in the courts? Does it end up reverting to what it was before they started cutting ultimately?
And of course, while that is being litigated, it takes some time and there's a real cost to that chaos. In my view, there needs to be an all-consuming strategy. Yes, that means in the courts. But that also means legislatively that we Democrats in Congress, even though we're in the minority in the House and in the Senate, our votes matter. And certainly they will need our votes pretty soon here when it comes to the March 14th deadline. And then finally, there is a role for ordinary citizens to play. You have seen it really over the last 7 to 10 days where angry citizens are showing up at town hall after town hall throughout this country in order to voice their displeasure. That too can have an influence. Let's not forget, 8 years ago at this moment, everyone was predicting that the Affordable Care Act would be done away with. Republicans had a trifecta. They campaigned on getting rid of it. Everyone thought it was dead. But what happened? So many citizens became active over the course of that 6-7 months in the first half of 2017. They were able to influence enough members of Congress that they were able to save the Affordable Care Act, and sure enough, it's still alive today.
Let's talk about the Trump-supported House budget, which is up for a vote this week. Major cuts to Medicaid and food assistance. They are likely included as a way to offset the estimated $4.5 trillion in tax cuts that are in the plan. You're a ranking member of the House Budget Committee. Does this budget benefit the majority of Americans?
That is the easiest question you have ever asked me. The easy answer, very simply, is no. We had a 12-hour voting meeting last Thursday in the Budget Committee. Democrats on my side, we did not give an inch because we wanted to expose exactly what is in that budget plan. It includes, at the very top line, $880 billion of cuts to Medicaid, which will be the largest in American history, with all of that money being diverted to tax cuts for the richest 1%. In addition, I referenced the Affordable Care Act earlier. There are additional cuts to the tunes of hundreds of billions of dollars to other health programs as well, such as the ACA, in addition to other cuts. So I think it's pretty clear the American people, when they find out about this, will be absolutely aghast that instead of Donald Trump focusing on getting costs lower for the American people, instead, yet again, the Republican agenda is cutting important programs like Medicaid so they can divert the money to the richest 1%.
So that means shortly before, when Donald Trump endorsed the House bill, he said in an interview that he would love and cherish Medicaid. I take it you don't believe him.
Yeah, I don't think this is the first time Donald Trump has promised to love and cherish someone or something and then has immediately cheated on that commitment. And he is doing it again, literally just hours after he said that he would love and cherish Medicaid. It's a total lie. It's a sham. And we will have a vote on Tuesday on the House floor. I encourage folks to watch that debate. Me and my colleagues will be talking even more about what is in this awful budget, including and especially the biggest cuts to Medicaid in American history.
So in terms of that vote Tuesday, it's only going to take 3 no votes from House Republicans to squash this budget, assuming all Democrats vote no. NBC tracked the Republican-held districts with the highest share of Medicaid recipients and those households that are receiving food assistance. Are you working to convince any of these Republicans to vote no? And I'm going to say other than Speaker Johnson, who is trying to toe the Trump line, but is in those top 10 categories.
Yeah, so at the moment right now, the House is 218 to 215. So that means we only need 2 House Republicans to join with Democrats, and we will be able to kill these extreme cuts to Medicaid once and for all. And I have to say, I have real optimism. I think that any House Republican, especially those in swing districts, who votes for this extreme budget will be signing their political death warrant come next November at the polls.
Yes.
So I think that we have a real shot to stop this in its tracks. Either way, this is going to be an incredibly close vote where literally every single vote matters.
So the Senate blueprint, though, it did not include any Trump tax cuts. So how do you reconcile that? And what if the needed Republicans agree that the cuts go too far? Is there room for negotiation on the budget to try to win bipartisan support?
So the Senate plan is essentially less than 1/10 of the House Republican plan. The House Republican plan includes all of Trump's desires and wishes in terms of his full agenda. The Senate plan has been called a skinny plan because it just includes a few $100 billion more in terms of border spending and defense spending and some provisions for energy. So if they end up going down the Senate route, essentially that would be them throwing in the towel because they couldn't get their extreme Medicaid cuts and their massive trillions of dollars worth of tax cuts for the richest 1% through the House of Representatives. I would say look at the Senate plan as their plan B if their House plan fails this week.
I'm curious, given the huge layoffs across the federal workforce over this past month, has that been factored into the budget calculations?
It hasn't, but I do want to say something about that. As someone who represents the Philadelphia area, we just suddenly on Thursday had 400 mostly middle-class citizens who live in and around my city show up for work and find out that they were being laid off. They received a letter saying it was because of poor performance. Some of them only had exemplary performance reviews. Some of them had never even had a performance review. And for this to happen, these were IRS employees at the height of tax season. It's completely insane. It will hurt not just those hundreds of employees in my district who have been impacted, but it will also hurt any citizen and any constituent of mine who will be calling the 1-800 IRS customer service number for help over the next 2 months. I'm going to be doing an event on Monday morning down by Independence Hall. We're getting ready for the big 250th anniversary of our country next year, a massive celebration. Well, this dodgy Doge, whatever Musk calls it, they went ahead and fired a bunch of National Park Service workers that we need at Independence Hall is already understaffed. So they're making a bad situation worse. So this is having an impact in my community specifically, but really throughout the country. People are going to be feeling the pain if they haven't already.
Yeah, I mean, tax season. I'm actually going to talk with a recently fired National Park worker in the next hour and just get her take on that. But it's all interesting, and I'm glad to talk with you about it. And I know I'll have you back again, Brendan Boyle, very soon. Thank you so much.